XRP, we start with monthly charges. I want to give a quick update. And based on monthly chart, we have nothing much to discuss. The only thing is we are looking at this correction. It's better we move to weekly chart. And if we move to weekly chart, we have been looking for this correction, all right? But we see this drop. And if we refer to the other charts like Bitcoin, ETH, most of the chart that's been in the crypto market, we see this drop, all right? Now the question is, what's the next? Okay, because if we refer to our analysis, we have been looking for this correction. We wanted to see we can look for continuation or not. As I mentioned, the crypto market, we see mostly the Bitcoin, we see the price drop quite a lot and the rest follow it. By the way, we don't need to care about that. Now the question is, if the price break the lowest price of this one, the previous low, then we will see the divergence. Then from there, we can look for buy, because most of the chart, as I mentioned, the Bitcoin, they have a similar movement. For the Bitcoin, it broke the previous low, but for the XRP and ETH, we don't see the breakout of the previous low, right? And mostly we know it depends on the Bitcoin movement at this point. But for the XRP, if the price could break this low, then from there, for me, I'm going to buy, all right? Because it will be below 30 cents. For the XRP, at this point, the below 30 cents is very cheap. And we know about this EC case, all right? That's why I mentioned for this year, I'm looking for the XRP. Now, if the price could break the previous low, following by divergence, then from there we can look for buy as a long term, because below the 30 will be very cheap. But at this point, we have to wait. We don't see any trade setup. It doesn't mean we have to wait for the breakout of the previous low before we look for the trade. Even if we see the reversal from here, we will take the trade, but we consider as a short-term trade. And but at this point, as I mentioned, we don't have a really good trade setup. And if we refer to our analysis, we have been looking for this one. This is what we get, but there was no continuation. And I mentioned any opportunity for buy within the correction will be short term. This is the reason, because we have seen this kind of the movements before. All right. And that's why for those traders, they should keep the trade stop loss below this. Now, at this point, we don't have any trade setup. We have to wait. Okay. We want to see how the price can consolidate here, either whether the price can break the previous low or not before we take the next trade. That means we have to wait. And if we move to lower time frame, low forward chart, if anyone is looking for trade for buy from here in relative to what we have here, first thing, we put our fib here. If the price could break the 61%, we just let it go. If not, any opportunity for buy within this one will be a short-term tree. Should know about this one flat. That's mean if we see one move up with the breakout of this top, we have to see whether we see the divergence or not. That's mean whether we can look for continuation or not. That's why we call it as a short term. And if I move to lower time frame, if anyone wants to look for buy, they're expecting this is the correction. We can look for continuation. They can put their entry above here or either above here or there. And we want a price sharply tag, break, and continue either above here or here. That means if the price tag, we see there is no continuation within the first or maximum second hours, we should take out the trade. And the stop loss should be below this or somewhere around 29 or 30 cents. It depends on the risk and reward they're looking for. Okay. By the way, we don't have really good trade setup unless we look for trade as a short term within this correction, and it depends on the strategy the traders they use. But at this point, the only question is whether the price is going to break the previous low, which is somewhere around 29, 28 cents or not. Because below 30 cents, we consider as a very cheap if anyone wants to look for buy as a long term. Okay. When I say below the 30 cents, we need to know that at this point that we consider the exact price will be somewhere below 28, 29. Okay. And having entry, if anyone wants to put the alert or entry below this correction, is not really good, because we have to see how the price is going to break the previous low. How about if the price sharply tag break and continue and it drop to 20? We wait. If the price continue and drop, we wait, we see the breakout following by divergence. Then if we see there is no continuation, there is a reversal from there, then from there we can look for trade setup and we take the trade. Simply, we shouldn't take the trade. Whenever I say it's cheap, it doesn't mean simply we have to look for buy. That means if the price, we have to wait for the price to break, the lowest price of this correction. Then from there, we look for the trade setup. By the way, we just follow the chart. If I see any update, I will share. Thanks.